Stephen. But it doesn't work that way. When they create new money, it helps special interests. We've been doing this for years and years, especially since 1971, since there was no linkage of our dollar to gold. So the money went into different areas. It went into education, which shot up the prices, you know, of education, medicine, housing, and also it can go into energy. So inflation is a problem. If you don't solve the problem of inflation, you're not going to stabilize the prices. But also, for decades now, especially with this administration, there's been too much interference in the development of new energy. The market doesn't provide us with alternative sources or more oil, more gas, or whatever. So that has been a hindrance to it. But you need the free market because even with the inflation that we have right now, it's creeping into food and everything else. We have a lot more inflation than the government admits. So if we continue to do this, the prices will continue to go up. But in some areas of our economy, it's still run by the free market. Electronics and televisions and cell phones. Guess what? Even with inflation, those prices can go down. But when the government gets involved with regulations is a big deal for energy and the prices go up. But you don't need like an energy policy in Washington that said, do A, B, and C, we're going to give you subsidies for this, and I want you to develop this and this. You don't want the bureaucrats and politicians telling people what to do. You want to just get the government out of the way and treat it more like a free market. Can you imagine what would happen that if the federal government 10 or 15 years ago decided, you know, it'd be very good for everybody to have a cell phone, especially little kids, because we can follow our kids and monitor our teenagers and everything else. But what we're going to do is make sure everybody gets a cell phone. So we have a government-mandated cellular phone program, and we're going to contract out with one company to develop the cell phone. Do you know what? The cell phone probably wouldn't work. It would cost lots of money. Just think of how we buy stuff in the military, $500 for hammers and everything else. So the market works for cell phones, and the prices go down, and the quality goes up. So that's what we need to do with energy. We also need to do the same thing for medical care, too, because government gets too involved in directing the funds into medical care, push up the prices, and they distort the market. But we don't have to. The one thing that a lot of people think, well, that's one of the reasons why we have to be in the Middle East to protect our oil routes. I don't believe that for a minute. We have a lot of energy in this country. The people, whoever's in charge of that oil, they're going to have to sell their oil someplace. Japan doesn't go around worrying about where they're going to get their oil. They don't have any oil wells at all. So the policy should be markets, and let the market decide, let the consumers decide. No subsidies to any one person. If you give tax benefits, they should be equal to all forms of energy.